Grand Ascension. Good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Carolyn Denise, better known as Nisi. I am Baby Girl Slaughter, coming back to you today with another reading of the book from Pierre Subak, a superb textbook called Murder of Reality. I want to read to you a portion from R.A. Boulet's Flying Serpents and Dragons, the story of mankind's reptilian past. I've been reading both of those together, kind of intermingling the two. And before I get started, though, I want to read something to you that I found quite interesting because I know this time of year can be kind of stressful for everyone. My husband and I, we do not celebrate the holidays any longer. Of course, we have children and grandchildren and family and things like that. And of course, everybody else still celebrates. But for me, I typically try to go inward and kind of reflect on the past year, my past life, the things that I can do better, moving forward and trying to course correct and change things, right? For the betterment of me. So this is the time that I use it as. And so I found something, the older that we get, because we are coming up to our older years now, right? And I am very, very thankful that I've been in this avatar body for the years that I've been in here, though it has flown by so quickly. I realized there are things that I need to change within myself. And so I found something that I just wanted to share with you all really quick before we get into this review and get into the reading. Now, it says cortisol balance and aging well. When we maintain balanced cortisol levels, we foster resilience and adaptability, ensuring a more vibrant life. Often called the stress hormone, cortisol not only helps us respond to stress, right? It also is an integral part to many other processes like metabolism and immune response. But when our cortisol levels run high for an extended period of time, or in the fight and flight mode, right, it can lead to a range of health issues, including accelerated aging. By bringing it into balance, we embark on a journey toward holistic well-being. The art of balancing cortisol involves a myriad of lifestyle habits. Mindfulness practices such as meditation and yoga are incredible allies in reducing stress and fostering calmness. Regular physical activity like gentle walks in nature or a refreshing swim contributes to lowering cortisol, while also instilling a sense of serenity. Forrest Knudsen is a great yogi. That I still follow him, and I would highly suggest you guys go over and check out his content and just listen to some of the things that he has to say. Okay. I just wanted to let you guys know that meditation and yoga is very, very integral part, and grounding, just being out in nature, getting sunlight, is a very integral part for reducing the stress. So it says, gentle walks in nature or refreshing swim contributes to lowering cortisol while also instilling a sense of serenity. Nutrition, too, is a crucial player. By choosing whole foods and minimizing sugar and processed food intake, we nature our adrenals, helping to stabilize our levels. Restful sleep provides the foundation for this balance, allowing our bodies to repair and to regenerate. Our bodies are intelligently designed, and it's always trying to course correct itself. Always. We just got to give the body what it needs, right? Aging well goes beyond the superficial. It's about feeling good from the inside out, a reflection of our inner harmony. When we maintain balanced cortisol levels, we foster resilience, adaptability, ensuring a more vibrant life. As we age, this balance supports the mental clarity and emotional stability, letting us embrace each phase of life with grace and gratitude, right? That's all I wanted to bring up. I know each one of us in the community, we support each other in so many ways, right? We support each other. We send, good energy, well wishes, thoughts, positivity, encouragement, and we support each other by watching each other's content. My thing is as I always explain to my son number 4, Jordan, I was telling him, I said, it's great to ascertain all this information, but if you don't put it into practice, then why are you doing it? Knowledge is power, but only if you utilize the knowledge that you have gained, right? So the reason why I'm doing these readings is because I'm learning and growing, right? Recalling information that I already knew. When I go to sleep at night and I dream, I get the answers to the questions that I need, that I've asked, and I get the answers. And it's like I knew this information from before, so I'm recalling it. I know I've said that many times in the videos. So I just want to do a quick review really quick. So the book, Murder of Reality, I'm on chapter 7, Bastards and Baskets. But I just want to read a couple of things to you just to kind of cross-correlate. We are being watched 24/7, as you guys know that. It's no conspiracy. And if you follow me over on any of the platforms, the content that I share, you already know. For me, this book details the historical involvement on the planet of non-human race of creatures, the reptilian, that are in appearance. They are a predator, and it rules the human mind through thought manipulation implanted in the fabric of language itself. And it is. I mean, it's true. Thing comes to me, David Icke was one of the biggest ones, and people thought he was crazy, but he has plenty of sense, plenty of truth. But not everybody's ready for that truth, right? So it says, connection or crossover between the woman and the serpent is relative to the Cabal or the secret society, supplemental to the Masonic Brotherhood, explicit of the Illuminati, a secret organization, the Illuminated Ones, record the hidden history of humanity primarily through the covert symbolism. And this book helps to deep dive and uncover the symbolism. And it says in one chapter, to conclude, the essence of language loans itself to symbolism, represented subliminally through the study of theology and homonyms. A hidden mentor of man, the angel in occult lore is a reptilian entity distinguished as hidden master or king. Principally, the dragon, a teacher of words and arithmetic, embedded knowledge of itself, sequenced in numerical codes, a secret history veiled in mathematics, geometry, astronomy, semology, and language. Systematic and intelligent, the adoption of signs is discursive or arcane wisdom pertaining to the snake and its concealment. Untrusting towards humans, this creature hides behind a cult ritual. Frightened of being uncovered, it uses war, economics, politics, and coercion to force nations to do its bidding. And it's factions of the reptilian class. And we're in the middle of it. And ancient accounts suggest the snake is duplicitous in its designs in dealing with men. This book intends to reveal the nature of the beast. The premise of the next chapter is to define what the angel is and give some background detail to this majestic and enigmatic being. And it says, the bloodline of the sovereign emphasizes human angelic descent replicated through the snake, a race of falling angels. The renegade group are termed in Latin as the Septuagint, literally serpent race. Commemorated in Judaic tradition with the fallen tribe, the Septuagint are stylized as the star or dragon. To conclude, the host are the progenitors of the formalized religion, all religions, Abrahamic religions especially, but all religions. A word borrowed from a Latin transitive verb relegare, to bind back or moor, a boat. Materialization of the malak is disclosed in Greek tradition as the documented evidence for such a creature is found throughout classical writing. Jewish scriptures record the snake in the Apocryphal Testament of the Armon, the elevated nation, attributed to the father of Moses. In this important and sacred document, Armon reveals to his reader the submission of man, behoved to the fallen dragon, overlord and the ruler of the earth. His summary of the snake is sobering and provides an excellent place to draw the chapter to conclusion. He writes, they answered me, we have been empowered and rule over all of mankind. One of them was terrifying in his appearance, like a serpent. His cloak many colors, yet very dark. His visage like a viper. And then This part, I'm just going to read out to what it says here. It goes into some characteristics. I might just skip that one. No, let me just read over it. Theologically, the Menorrhea, okay, discloses, which is the ministrating priestess originating from the offspring of the angels, the cabal. Ovulation of the scarlet whore is compared to the oblation offered as the preparatory. In the Judaic and Persian law, the menses blood characterizes the mammal, e.g. man, and details ritual contamination of the serpents or angels' lineage through human intercourse. Comparisons between the fallen woman recurrent with the deity Electo, a culpable, documents Immaculate Conception preserved in the Arabic etonym alik, a clot or blood, dualistic of the votive. Immolation is compared to the angelic rebirth aligned to the mysteries, and the confluent in Greek with electo, to lick up, from the Arabic root alak, to feed, denoting the ritual blood drinking. Electo's namesake, Electra, marks out the alignment of the seven sisters attributed with the constellation of Pleiades and the Sabi priesthood. The figure 7 enumerates the ritual death of the firstborn and appears in Jewish numerology as the 7 mysteries divulged in the next chapter, which I did read to you guys. And then in that chapter, it concludes, it says, in conclusion, Venus operates as a shape-shifting signifier of a constellation Sirius. Opposite the Pleiades, the morning, the Sabah, articulates the creation of the 7 planets allied with the 7 sisters. Historical confusion over the Saba or star and its double alignment with Sirius and Taurus concedes a split inside the Persian and Babylonian Judaic priesthood. In Exodus 32, Moses established a new covenant through the destruction of Aaron's golden calf, celestial to the Pleiades, reaffirming in the book of Leviticus 16, 18, 19, Aaron is required to offer the blood of a bull or goat, all these sacrifices, indicative of the merging of the separate traditions. This, it seems, is incumbent of the unification of the Pleiades with Sirius, personified as the bull and the goat fish, to, quote, he shall take some of the bull's blood and some of the goat's blood and put it in all the horns of the altar. He shall sprinkle some of the blood on it with the finger 7 times to cleanse it and consecrate it from the uncleanliness of the Israelites. All of these traditions fall back to these beings, these reptilians. God doesn't require that type of sacrifice. The creator of all doesn't need what we have. It already has everything it needs. It's consciousness, it's energy, it's light, it's intelligence. We live within the consciousness. We live within the creation itself. We are a part of creation, and we are co-creators of our reality. We're not the only things. I know some of you have the thought that this is a, it's a planet, or it's a dome and it's sealed in, it's contained. No, it's not. It's proven. Water is a conduit. Frequencies, plasma, it's proven. If you can slow it down, because everything is vibrating so fast around us. We have millions of magnetite crystals vibrating in our brains, okay? Everything is about frequencies. Everything is about frequencies. If you can tune into that right frequency, you can go through that wall. You can definitely go through the plasma fields, through these different cellular domes, past the Antarctic ice walls. I'm just saying. And ancients knew that. We knew that. We've lost that. And they've hid it in plain sight in front of us. That's why I'm reading these things and we're discussing these things and having an intelligent conversation, right? Last part, this is it. In summary, the sacred house of God, or Kaaba, is likened to the temple or womb. Conceptualized as the Kubi, or heaven, signifies as the Kaaba, or the cube, the black cube, that they go to Islam and the Muslims they circle around the cube. Okay, it's a nod to Saturn. I mean, it really is. But let me read this part. It says the cube, or the kibha, or the water snake, the Kaaba, edifices accords in mystical Islam with the sacred geometry noted by the Platonic scholars. Offspring of the dragon or angel, annotated in the Apocrypha as the illegitimate castigate, the scarlet whore, and her maternity, the Cabal. Province of the Judaic tradition of the Kabbalah is sourced from the tribal offspring of the Kabbali, a secret cabal. The Kabbali ordains the Kaaba or messenger, defined as the host connected to the Kaaba shrine. Philological, the Kaaba classifies Kib or serpent, discloses the Kibi as an angel, a being originating from the constellation Al-Kalib or Sirius. Closely aligned, the Kabbali in principle are grouped in the Hebrew traditions with the Shevet or Shevet tribe, known collectively as the Shebash, the bastards. Disclose of the Shevet and the denunciation, the Sabi priesthood marked the origin from the Saba, the 7 stars of the Pleiades, correlated with the angelic division between the host army and Sirius. Incarnation of the falling angels, the Kalibi, memorialize the first Sabbath, and the creation of man, sequence with the Pleiades and the 7 stars. Everything's all by design. Now, when we get up into the fallen tribe, I'm just going to read this part. A military group of renegade angels referred to as the Illuminati or the Sabi. Historically, a belligerent organization, the Illuminati has assimilated themselves into human culture through the conquest of the matriarch, the female. And then I read the Sabaoth, the army of the Lord. And the last part, when I was over on Facebook, and I don't know if I can't remember if I uploaded it here on YouTube or not, but I'm just going to read in summary. So the Sinaitic references in contemporary culture to the alien vessels in the modern vernacular UFO is matched with the much older orthodoxy. The epithet Zari, Z-A-R-I, an alien translates to the modern Arabic as a visitor and is identical to a crew member, okay? The Sabaoth or Sabaoth, both are described as angelic and latent with the modern phenomena of a starship in accordance with the Hebrew theology, the Kalalit. Pictured in the Judaic accounts, the Kalalit described large vessels, literally spaceships floating above the waters of space. And all in throughout India, Hindustan, temples that are built. The Kailash Temple. Go look that up. Absolutely beautiful. That would be one place I'd want to go visit. I would not want to go to the Vatican or Rome. I have no desire to. But the Kailash Temple and some of these pyramids down like in Mexico and things like that. I did hold this up on Facebook. I think I showed it over here on YouTube, but that's a picture of a craft. This is not it is a sealed dome, but there is ways to get through the ether. So this book talks about basically shape-shifting reptilians. I mean, it gives a good text of what we are, reading over. Last part, in conclusion, the descriptions of Gabriel matches the navigator recorded in the book of Noah. The account provides a fascinating, insightful explanation of Noah's pedigree. The text reads, and it talks about Lamech. So I'm going to read this part, and then we're going to get into the chapter. Methuselah took a wife for his son, Lamech, and she became pregnant by him and bore him a son, Noah. And his body was white as snow and red as a rose. The hair of his head as white as wool, and his dimdah, long curly hair, beautiful. And for his eyes, when he opened them, the whole house glowed like the sun. And his father Lamech was afraid of him and fled and went to Methuselah, his father. And he said to him, I have begotten a strange son. He is not like an ordinary human being, but he looks like the children of the angels of heaven to me. His form is different, and he is not like us. It does not seem to me that he is me, but of angels. And then it talks about the turban, what Gabriel looks like, having long red hair, a green turban, green skin. Talks about Osiris. I went through that, okay? So now we're on to baskets and bastards. Take some of the first fruits of all that you have produced from the soil of the land and put them in a basket. The priest shall take the basket, the tani, from your hands and set it down in front of the altar of the Lord your God. And you and the Levites, and the aliens among you shall rejoice in all the good things the Lord your God has given to you and your household. Deuteronomy 26:2, 4, and 11. And it says, Moses was educated in all of the wisdom of the Egyptians and was powerful in speech and action. Acts 7:22. Okay? Everything's interconnected, whether you guys want to believe that or not. It is so true. All right, let's get into it. In the Semitic language, the word basket implies different sizes, shapes, and constructions and has different names summarized below. Sal, salif, tene, adud, tibah, and sabet. In the current Arabic noun for basket in a shop is sabet and references Hebrew verb sabet to rest. Memorialized as the Shabbat, Shabbat, or Sabbath. The Sabbat, Sabat, basket is symmetrically with the Shebat, a tribe or a clan, connected to Moses in conjunction with the host and flood. Insignia of the casket is a precursor to the establishment of the civil monarchy, replicated as the snake. The basket is a symbol of the serpent's lineage and is a device utilized esoterically to convey an angelic birth. A dud, the old Semitic noun for a basket, is a homonym in the colloquial Arabic of dud, a worm or caterpillar. Progeny of a worm is equated with the line of kings and encrypted in the Semitic lexicon. As I've said before, I have a poster over here of the Sumerian kings. The list. And when you look at that lineage, you have to think to yourself, these beings lived a long time. They lived a long time. I'm going to tell you, go search it out. Go get on your phones, your tablets, whatever. Go look up the Sumerian kings list. For example, the alternative Hebrew noun for a basket is sal, utilized in Arabic to abbreviate the word saluta, or to rule. Saluta is nominal of the sultan and his noble line, the Atsil, cognate with the fallen angels of the Shana'atin, the Shahanatin, the Sahatin, the Shatani. In occult lore, minions of the Satan with the H, are depicted with the signifiers of salt, substituted in Arabic with the basket, ruler, or worm. Sal, the basket, conforms to the Latin root sal, or salt, or seles, salt water, or the sea. Convert symbols of the matriarch's divine union with heaven. Her offering is registered with the basket and salt. The Roman noun soul, in parentheses, salt, is categorized or cataloged with the female genitalia, the saltus, a polymorph indicating the verb to leap, implicit of a deity represented as a goat or noble. When I think of the goat, I go back and I think of, is it Baal that has the goat head, y'all? Hold on. Hold, please. We're getting into it. I don't think it's Moloch. Moloch has the bull, I think. Because I did that video yesterday. I want to also say that it is the bull, the goat head is Baal. Hold on. I got it in this book. You know I'm gonna find it. I just wanna call out something because it just came into my head and just like it went in and went out. Yeah, here it is. No, it's Baphomet. That's what it is. Baphomet has the Baphomet is the devil, has a goat head to symbolize the animal nature of man. Baphomet is holding the right hand up, for the right hand path is ascension. This is the ascension. This is falling. The left is the falling. The part of sin where you fall. Okay, lower state, lower chakra, lower sacral bone, the coccyx bone, the lower consciousness. Left side brain has always been the battling of the minds. You know, you have two minds. So it says, holding the right hand up, for the right hand, the path is ascension, and the left hand is down like this, or points down like that. He has it up like this. And then the point hands down. So that basically tells you that's a dissension. The Baphomet is not a real entity. It symbolizes an individuality mindset. The Baphomet is the both male and female, symbolizing division and inversion of God's creation. God is oneness, meaning he is genderless, or consciousness is genderless. Okay. But We all know the creator likes spice, and we are not the only thing that's ever been created. So what do you do when you have eternity or infinity? You create things. We are a family. Regardless of how you guys feel about these aliens, reptilians, these creatures, whatever. We're all family. That's the thing. We all come from source. Whether these things created these templates and we came into this consciousness, the consciousness came into these avatars. However you see it, we're still all one, regardless. That's my point. So then it says, Sol, basket, conforms to the Latin word root sol or salt and solus, salt water or sea. Convert symbols of the matriarch divine union with heaven. Her offspring is registered with the basket and salt. The Roman noun sol or salt is cataloged with the female genitalia saltus, a polymorph indicating the verb to leap, implicit of a deity represented as a goat or noble. The celere, the intransitive verb to leap, notates solace or salt water, is illustrative, right, of the fallen angel, addendum to the basket and the childbirth. Saltus, the womb or to leap, is drawn from the Sumerian lepograph Sol, annotated as the woman's sexual organs, designated as the mare or ma, the matriarch. Compares in esoteric Latin to the noun mare, the sea. Diagnostic of the host in Venus. Similar analogies are reconfigured in Hebrew. The noun malek, a sailor, is equivalent to the malaki, salt. The signifier of salt articulates the malak, an angel, and the malik, our king. In summary, materialization of the angel connotating the mariner is conceptual to the basket, a ruler equated with salt. We are on maritime law. We're operating on maritime law. Most people don't even know that. We were entered into a blood covenant before we were even born into these avatar bodies. That's how they got the system set up so tight down here. Birth certificate, social security card, you're in the system, you're in the beast matrix. They've taken our trust. We're paying back them twice on something that we already have, and it should be ours naturally born birthright. We shouldn't have to be paying for nothing. That's my point. Most people don't even know that. And they call us, back in my laws, Black Laws Dictionary, human, sea beast, or monster, because we come through the watery baptism or womb of a female. Get it? That's why I'm reading these, why I'm breaking this down, where it signifies the salt articulates the malik, or an angel, or malaki, a king. In summary, the materialization of the angel connoting a mariner is conceptual to the basket, a ruler equated with salt. Biblically, salt is applied to purify the offering and is concurrent in Catholicism with baptism. Its use during ritual oblation is accorded to the Jews, outlined in the book of Numbers 18:19, and is a practice adopted by the Greeks and the Romans. In the second book of the Chronicles 13:5, salt is integral to the covenant of Israel. The passage reads as a rhetorical question, don't you know that the Lord, the God of Israel, has given the kingship of Israel to David and his descendants forever by a covenant of salt? The term, the Malak, covenant of salt, covertly designates the angelic line, the Malakar, or the Malak with an A, okay? Malak. Unification between heaven and earth, deemed as the salt covenant, is administered traditionally through the Melik, which is the king, with an E, the Meleki, M-E-L-E-K-H, which is king. Imperial governance situational to the basket or salt, and salt is the dividend attributed to the navigator or host. Within the rabbinic tradition, the basket is integral to the cult of Moses. Judaism recalls him as a prophet of the law and the author of the sacred canon, the Torah. Moses' defined lineage is recorded with the basket, a theme reiterated in the biblical account. In the book of Exodus, the Pharaoh decrees to kill the newborn male an act of prophetic of the death of the Egyptian firstborn. To safeguard Moses and prevent detection, his mother conceals him in a bithyme basket, a symbol of the matriarch. Classical writers saw a relationship between the bitumen and the black deoxygenated menstrual blood. Judean bitumen is the best according to the Greek scholar, and he notes that it shines like purple. The same authority maintains the bitumen termed aphysios or asphalt derives out of menses and strangulates the womb. Here, the Dinoscrides makes a punning reference in classical Greek between aphelis, asphalt, and the aphyxis, or not a pulse, rendered in English as asphyxia. Strangulation, asphyxia, is further a play on the Greek noun hysteria, or womb. The bitumen serves as a metaphor of the womb, okay, coupled with the negation of the firstborn sanction from the royal house. Codified language used by the Derosides is typical of the Greek and Semitic mystery schools, tabulated from the hieroglyphs. Point or food for thought. This being, Yeshua, was taught in the mystery schools by Thoth in Egypt. There's a record of that. Just saying. If he had to be taught in the mystery schools, what do you think we need to be taught in? You just have to let that be. Just sit and think about it. According to the British Museum sign list, the hieroglyphic basket, sometimes annotated as a bread basket, is used to write the title Neb or Neb, Lord, rendered from the Arabic titular Nabi or prophet. Nabi in standard Arabic is transliterated from the Egyptian Arabic title Nebi or prophet. The theology of Neb is related to Nabu, alternatively NBW or gold. Application of the title Neb, Lord, technically Nebi, prophet, infers that the breadbasket sign is read also as a ritual vessel. Its use is cognizant with dipping or immersion of prescriptive of divination and sacrificial rites. In context to Moses, the basket glyph describes Mount or Nebu or golden, recognized in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 34 as the location of Moses' death. Here, the Nebu operates as a clever pun on the Semitic expression Nabaha, or to foretell, or Nabi, prophet. Moses is accorded the status of a prophet or prognostic. The Nabi prediction of his demise on Mount Nebu. The basket sign reinforces Moses' lineage and characteristics of the son of a prophet, Nabi, or Lord Neb. His title further suggests he is allied to the marital priesthood of the Sultan, encoded arogrammatically within the hieroglyph itself. In Judaism, likewise, there are numerous wordplays pertaining to Moses' casket, adjacent to the military leader, noted in the book of Exodus. The Hebrew word tebah, T-E-B-A-H, defined as Moses' reed basket, is a deliberate pun on the Egyptian word dejeb, a commander, and that's spelled D-J-E-B-A. By the way, in the pyramids, even here in America, in the pyramids that they won't let you go see, there's Jedi towers. There are pillars in there, energy centers. There's a power plant, but I'm not even gonna get into that. I just want you guys to know that there is such a thing as the Jedi. All right. In addition to the Chebed or the Sabah, the host, Sabah, T-S-A-B-A, the T is silent. Sabah, the host, the Teba, philologically is derived from the Egyptian root tejeb, a sealed chest. According to the scholar David Roll, the tejeb by the New Kingdom is pronounced teb, perhaps with the final vowel. The word taba or tejeb has the same meaning, means chest. Relationship between the ruler and the sacrifice is comparative to the Egyptian noun tejebit, T-C-H-E-B-E, and there's a hyphen T. A coffin, sarcophagus, or a wicker basket Incorrectly translated from the Old Semitic noun tebah. Expression of the tebah or basket, ark, or chest is used additionally to Moses in the accounts of Genesis to indicate Noah's ark, which is a spaceship. It was a ship. And every animal that they collected was domesticated animals, and they gave him basically all of the DNA of the animals, but we're taught that is leading all these animals in this damn gone boat, and it really was a ship. And I mean, it was a ship. It was round. It wasn't what everybody thinks it is. So my point is that the expression of the tebet or basket, ark, or chest is used additionally to Moses in the account of Genesis to indicate Noah's ark. Recorded in the creation narratives, the tebet offers protection and shelter to Noah and his family during the deluge. I read it behind over on Facebook. Lord Inky, who is really Noah's father, reptilian, came to him behind a reed hut and told him he needed to take what he could with his family right then and there and go and build this ship, this ark. And he gave him specific instructions. Reed hut. Now, Noah, he wanted to see him, but he said he couldn't look at his face. He came to him. Yeah. So I'm just saying, you really got to read text, and it's in the Sumerian text. I mean, and I may do a live stream over that and pull it up and show you the account, pull a tablet off and drop it in a translator and go through it and read it with you guys on screen so you can see it. Because a lot of people have not done that. And for the life of me, I don't know why. But anyway, according to the book of Genesis, a praise from the earlier Akkadian Gilgamesh epics, the Lord of the hosts, the angelic sailor, precipitates a flood to destroy man. And they do. And it's done over and over again. We're on the 7th incarnation cycle. This is a repeat. These beings are repeat offenders when it comes to that. The symbol of the ark, basket, or boat notates Moses' lineage, anteceded from the offspring of Noah, deemed angelic or noble. The symbol of the ark, basket, or boat notates Moses' lineage, anteceded from the offspring of Noah, deemed angelic or noble. A royal mark of the casket exemplifies Moses' sacrifice birth, sequential from the illegitimate patriarch Noah. Described in the book of Noah to refer to the previous chapter, Noah's bloodline is traced genealogically from the serpent or the watcher. Replete with military connotations, the ark is allied to the royal leader, the commander, the Tejeb, or the Dejeb, consistent with the host, Sabaoth. And this is the closing. To recap, Moses' ark details the royal angelic ascendancy parallel to the covenant of Noah. Okay? A theme elaborated in the Gospels. In the New Testament, baby Yeshua is placed in the manger, used as the theological comparison to Moses in the basket. The manger, from the Latin root word medere, to chew, is a symbol cogent with the ordination of the covenant, enacted liturgically through communion. The mandere symbolically infers mandare, to command, order, enjoin, or commission. Its use is analogous in the Semitic to teb, or the basket, and tajaba or tajeb, a commander. There is a clear proximity established between the army, the tajeb, the modern Semitic Sabaoth, or Saba, okay? I see the T and I want to say it. It's Saba. And death, inferred by the boat or ark, the Taba. Pictured as the coffin, the Tibet provident within Freemasonry. The ark features the destruction of the firstborn that commemorates with the initiation of the Nile, associated with the stories of Noah and Moses, which the Nile is the Mississippi River. Not going to argue. Go do your research and look it up. In addition, the reed basket operates as a dual signifier, denoting a dignitary or a military leader, okay? His office is equated with an angel, a serpent, synonymous with the host and the rumination or the sacrifice. Throughout the Semitic literature, the ark is identified with immolation. The corbus, the Latin female noun for basket, a cognate, with carbo or charcoal from the Semitic word korban, describing a gift dedicated to God. A korban is translated into the modern Hebrew as a sacrifice. The corbus annotates a deity's status or royal pedigree. To summarize, the wicker motif in early Judaic mythology denotes the inception of the priesthood ascribed to the law writer Moses. And here's a picture. I didn't show you that. There's a picture back here. And this was a picture of Tutankhamun's seated on the Nebu, a gold glyph implicit of the Neb, a lord or priestess or prophet. And that's what they read that as. And I mean, you see these thrones. Some of these thrones are just so daggone tall and huge. Like inside the Vatican. Go look at some of those videos of the thrones and the palaces there. It's Tartarian. I mean, and you could tell that these giants roamed. They walked. These beings were huge. Not trying to sway anybody. You just got to do your research. If you know, baby. You know. That's all I'm going to say. You know or you don't. So it says, hierarchy of the carrier, the Tabah, signifies royal ancestry traced from an angelic source originating from Noah's Ark. Well, I read it to you. In Egyptian, the iconography emblem of the Ark discloses a sovereign or prophet, predated in Babylon to the winged cherubim, an angelic guardian. Pervasive throughout Syrian carvings, the messenger holding the basket suggests the appropriations of the first fruits, implicit of the firstborn. The basket of offering, indexed in the Old Semitic as ateni, is derived from the Syrian root teman, a price, rendered in Egyptian Arabic as timin. The teni, a basket, Semitically implies a payment or a purchase, thematic of a sacrificial loss assigned to the cherub. The offertory is recognizant with the king and the redemption of sin. The cherub is replaced in the Greek ritual with the kanonophis plural, the kanafari, the basket offerer, an arcane symbol of the divine birth modeled on sacrificial offerings. The kanafari depicts a sculptured figure of a youth or a maiden bearing a basket in their head containing tributaries. These gifts are associated with the first feast or fruits feast of gods. Esoteric of the phosphorus, the morning star, which is what I talked about yesterday. Lucifer's tomb you. Intrinsic to the firstborn, the wicker carrier is grouped intellectually with the monarch and the angel. Substituted with the child, its death is reciprocal to the basket or the womb, and the salt and the angel, ingredients of atonement correlated with the tributes. So, you know, when you burn the body, it goes back to what? The 12 salts. Our bodies are salt. We are 75% water. Just saying. We come through the watery grave or the watery womb, whatever you want to call it, to come into this avatar body, into this simulation, into this matrix. I'm just saying. You just can't make this up. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. All right. So let's read this part. Homosaurus and the primitive man of Eden. In the epics of Mesopotamia, man's creation was secondary and even incidental to the creation of the universe and the colonization of the planet by the alien visitors. Man's creation was conceived and executed not as the end to itself or a natural development of the civilization of Mesopotamia, but rather an expedient to satisfy a group of discontented aliens. Man's purpose was to serve the gods. Man was meant to be the breadwinner, the laborer, and the caretaker of the gods. The Sumerian accounts makes it clear that Adam of the Bible was not the Homo sapiens of today. He was what one would call Homosaurus, a hybrid, the mammalian Syrian creature that was to become our ancestor and the first step in the creation of modern man, which is us, the Homo sapiens. In just a few years, man has taken a quantum jump into an evolution. He had suddenly evolved from the wild ape man to a hybrid that would become a new species known as Cro-Magnon man. And we're the only species on this planet that has to pay to live here. Makes no sense. It does make sense though. It does when you know what this is and who runs this dome. The hybrid that was created probably looked reptilian since he was created in the image of gods. Genesis is very specific about this, for it states, "Then God said, I will make man in my image, after my likeness." Later, as man intermarried with his species, the reptilian strain deteriorated and he became more mammalian-like and less reptilian in appearance. The mammal genes, and I've read this before, but I wanted to cover this again because I'm driving us home. The mammal genes denoted the reptilian ones, and man became more human and less godlike. It explains man's sinful nature and his fall from grace. Original sin was man's deviation from the basic reptilian or godly pattern. And I can pull out my Stedman's dictionary. You can look at the brain, how we're made up, how this body is beautifully put together, and we do have a reptilian brain. That's all I'm gonna say. All I'm gonna say. And it says, Genesis makes the point repeatedly that before the fall, man was naked while he occupied the Garden of Eden. And it's true because it was a freaking lab experiment. They was out there doing all kind of stuff. It was not until he ate the forbidden fruit that he realized that he was naked and put on clothing. Other ancient religious sources support the condition of man, but also reveal the reason why he was naked. According to the Haggadah, the bodies of Adam and Eve had been overlaid with horny skin. And moreover, Adam, it was said that it was as bright as daylight and covered his body like a luminous garment. Snakeskin. Adam thus had the outward appearance of a reptile with a scaly and shiny skin. It was for the reason that Adam and Eve did not wear nor did need any clothing for protection or for comfort. They shed their skin, regeneration, rebirth, reborn. The book of Genesis also makes it clear that Adam did not sweat while in the Garden of Eden, that his punishment for eating the forbidden fruit, for he was told, because Enki came to him and kicked their ass out after Enlil said what he said. Did I say it right? No, I said it backwards. Enki told them. Enlil got pissed and kicked him out, if you want to follow that narrative. By the sweat of your face shall you earn your bread. Adam did not sweat before the fall for the simple reason that sweating is a characteristic of mammals and not reptiles. As long as they remained in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve did not propagate. They were mules and could not reproduce their own kind. The incident which the Bible refers to as the fall of man was his acquiring his ability to procreate by taking on many of the traits of the mammals. It is explicit in Eve's punishment that she is to bear the pangs of live birth of mammal. These processes and changes were created in modern man or reported elsewhere in this work. These changes are probably best illustrated by a tract from the Gnostic document which states that because of the eating of the forbidden fruit, they saw their makers. They loathed them since they were beastly forms. The appearance of such a statement in early Christian literature is amazing and makes it abundantly clear why the Gnostics were persecuted by the fathers of the early church, who declared Gnosticism an anathema and its followers permissible by death. They didn't want that shit coming out. Just saying. It is now generally accepted that the book of Genesis is a condensed version of actual events in man's early history. Moreover, Genesis raises more questions than answers. In order to understand this book and explain the omissions and contradictions, scholars of the last 300 years have intensely studied both the sacred text and the related writings from Genesis was probably derived. In the words of St. Jerome, Genesis is said to be the most difficult and the most obscure of the sacred books. Genesis contains as many secret words, and each word conceals several others. Mario Bellingio, I have his books back here. He was a Vatican translator for, 20-something years, and he finally came out and said, you know what, after the Vatican let him go, because the way he was translating it literally like it's supposed to be written, and they didn't want it. They didn't want that. They wanted to put the sugarcoat version on it. I'm just keeping it 100. So he came out with it. And I mean, a lot of people, have asked him, well, how does the Catholic Church feel? And how does this, that, and the other? Well, they're serpents. What do you think? How do you think they're going to feel? I'm just saying. Just saying. You know. When you know, you know. I'm just going to say that. So it says, the early chronicles who compiled Genesis placed little emphasis on events which took place before the deluge. If you read, and I may do that with you guys one time, The Epics of Gilgamesh, the Coda of Hammurabi. There's so many different books that I have over here that, just to tell you, you got to read. You get a different angle, a different picture of what really went on. This section is particularly short and vague and consists of only 7 short chapters. The events of the period are ambiguous and the subject often changes abruptly, indicating that there have been many omissions and changes, presumably committed by succeeding priests and editors and transcribers. Yes, the Bible was not put together by God. It was put together by man. And people like to say, oh, it was inspired by God. Which gods are you talking about? Yeah, the reptilian overlords. Don't care how you feel. Do your research. Come talk to me when you do. Basically, there were 2 main channels that transmitted information on the events described in Genesis. One is the vast amount of religious literature commentating or commemorating on these events, and the other is the secular sources from which the fountainhead of these events. If Abraham came to Ur of the Chaldees in Mesopotamia around 2000 BC, he presumably brought with him the stories that make up the events described in Genesis, especially those before the deluge. There were many, many wars and many, many resets. I'm just going to say. When the Old Testament was first written down about the 7th or 6th century BC, many documents were either not available or were deliberately left out for political reasons. Many non-Hebrew texts, such as those found in the pseudepigrapha, were not included. The pseudepigrapha, I hope I'm saying that right, was actually completely lost from transmitted heritage and was not recovered until the Old Testament had become fixed in the form we know today. What was retained in the Old Testament after centuries of mediation by the priesthood, was a highly introspective version of the enormous literature available to them. Manuscripts such as the 3 books of Enoch, Jubilees, and other documents over here, and other documents tell a different story of the Garden of Eden, of the creation and the fall of man. These and many other lost books of the Bible explain many of the puzzles and consistencies of the Old Testament. I'm telling you, I know what y'all saying. This is a closed system. Ain't nobody else here but man. I'm trying to tell you, oh no, baby. It's much deeper than you could ever imagine. And it's more fantastical. And it's like they give us this sanitized version and this is all that there is? Hell no. It's way more than that. It says, the Torah, in its narrowest sense, signifies the Pentateuch, otherwise known as the 5 books of Moses. I don't know if I said that right. The Pentateuch, otherwise known as the 5 books of Moses, the first part of the Hebrew Bible. In its wider sense, however, it denotes all the ramifications of the Torah, the commentaries that the rabbis wrote upon it, the laws that are derived from it. I'm telling you, I need to read that. And the Talmud, and all the emulations of the narrative portion. The other sacred Hebrew source is the Haggadah. I hope I said that right, which means the telling and is a commentary on the Torah. It fills in the details or supplies the missing information on the biblical story, reconciles apparent contradictions, answers questions, incorporates fables from the sources, makes moral deductions, adds contemporary historical allusions, discusses relevant theological topics, and indulges in the biographical anecdotes. In this sense, it is an indispensable source for information on the people and events of the Old Testament. The Haggadah contains hundreds upon hundreds of legends and fables which serve to illustrate in some way the scriptural text. The oldest of the material evolved from the commentary of the Bible given by the rabbis in the synagogues of Palestine or Philistine. As early as the 6th century BC, such exposition is called the Midrash or inquiry. The Haggadah is usually contrasted with the Halakha, which derives from the oral law. Both Haggadah and the Haggadah were associated with the Talmud, a vast collection of Jewish writing compiled from the post-biblical period of the 4th century for the Palestinian Talmud and the 5th century for the Babylonian Talmud. The Kabbalah consists of a oral tradition based on mysticism, that is, the esoteric and philosophical currents existing among the Jews in Palestine and Egypt. And the term came to designate secret mysteries whispered by the sages. Many attempts have been made to penetrate these mysteries, which are said to contain the wisdom of the ages. Manly P. Hall is another great resource. Just going to say. The version of the Old Testament used by the Christian church is the Septuagint, which was created by the 70 scholars of the command of the Ptolemy II in the 3rd century BC, Alexandria, Egypt, which is here in the United States, or as we call it, America, or Amaruka, by the Khans. Translated into Greek, it is often referred to as the the 21st version of the reason, I guess that's what it is. The other biblical translation in the general usage is based on the Vulgate, a Latin translation, and is authorized and used in the Catholic Church. I don't know if I said that right, you guys. Just bear with me. None of these versions of the scriptures are satisfactory to the serious researcher into the mysteries of the past, for the simple reason that there may be books mentioned in the scriptures which have never been found or presumed lost. No, they're in somebody's private collection in their house. All right, so I'm going to stop right there because I don't want to get to an hour. But, I mean, we really do need to freaking get to the end of this chapter. Let me just read this. Let me just keep going, all right? You guys can come back and rejoin me if you need to. Next part, the lost books of the Old Testament. There are many documents which are mentioned in the Old Testament that have been either lost or suppressed. For example, in the section of Joshua 10:13, which relates to the event when the sun stood still in the sky. We know what day that was. The long day. The day that hell rained down on everybody. Is the not recorded the book of Jasher? Okay, so is it not recorded in the book of Jasher, which is over here? This book is also mentioned in 2 Samuel 1:17, when David is lamenting the death of Saul by the Ammonites. The book of Jasher is apparently an epic account of the Israelites' desert wanderings and the invasion of Canaan, and the battles fought by Saul and David. This lost book is probably related to the book of wars of Yahweh, which is mentioned in Numbers 21:14, when the Israelites were leaving the Sinai and were encountering resistance by the Moabs in the attempt to enter the land of Canaan. I'm going to say this for people, and I know a lot of you, some Christians are going to watch this, may not, but I'm going to say this. What God would make you go in and war against another tribe and take all of their spoils, rape the women, kill the children, and rape some of the children? That is not the creator of all, okay? That's what I'm saying. If you really think that the creator of all has to have spoils, then you need to get your mind right. You need to get your mind checked. It's too fantastical to think that this one all-important being would come down on this existence in this plane and drop down to this vibration slow enough to where we can actually physically interact with this being and cause all of this hostility. I'm just gonna say. Y'all say, oh, it was a devil, it was a Yahweh. Well, read the scriptures. If you only read one book, that's the only point of view you'll ever have. And you're missing the mark. Like, you need to come back and do this all over again. I'm not coming back. If I come back, I'm going to retain all my memories. All I'm going to say. The book of the wars of Yahweh. Chief, have you got that book? Because I don't have it. I probably need to get it. And I'm going to put that on my list to do it next week. I'm going to order it probably next week. Which is mentioned in Numbers 21:14 when the Israelites were leaving the Sinai and were encountered by resistance by the Moabs in an attempt to enter the land of Canaan. Another lost book was apparently compiled in 7 parts of Joshua's request. It is mentioned in Joshua 18:9 and describes the division of the land of Canaan and its distribution among the tribes of Israel. The title is unknown. There are many more passing references to the lost books in the Old Testament. The book of the story of Adam, I think I have that, is mentioned in Genesis 5:1 and seems to be a detailed account of the first 10 generations from Adam to Noah. There is a reference to the book of Yahweh Isaiah 34:16, which appears to deal with the agriculture and animal husbandry. I want to say I have something on Adam. Other books mentioned in passing are the book of the Acts of Solomon, Soul of Man. I have that up here. The Keys of Solomon, I have that. I have several books on Solomon. Referred to the 1 Kings 11:41, which deals with the deeds of Solomon for the 40 years he was king. The Chronicles of the Kings of Judah, as found in 1 Kings 14, 15, 22, and the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel, mentioned in 1 King 14, 15, 16, are detailed history of the early kings after the division of the empire of the Solomon. Basically, all these books are talking about us, internal mind, what goes on. Yeah, there were battles, there's history, there is truth there, but it also is multi-layered. Again, if you're only looking at it from one perspective, that's all you're ever going to get from the book. Other books referred to as passing are the Book of Genealogy and the Chronicles of the Sons of Levi. Even the Dead Sea Scrolls there is an excerpt from the book of Lamech, the antediluvian patriarch. The history of the Hebrews, as recorded in the Old Testament, has many missing sections. For example, only 2 years of the 40 spent wandering in the desert of Sinai is covered. The other 38 years are all blank. There is only a sketchy information on late years of Solomon, suggesting that the biographical account has been suppressed, presumably for worshiping plural gods, lowercase g. His harem of hundreds of wives or concubines probably did not sit well with the Chronicles. The books of the Septuagints, Apocrypha. There's also an abundance of post-biblical documents in thousands of years after the Bible was first canonized. The Jews of Europe, Asia, and Africa wrote prolifically in an attempt to clarify the Mosaic law. Has anybody read the Noahide laws? Drop it in a comment and let me know. This provides a large literature of historical and anecdotal comments on biblical passages. A large number of these documents by Jews were completely lost from a transmuted heritage and reappeared between 200 BC and AD 200, too late to be included in the formalized Hebrew accounts. These documents have been grouped together under the term the Pseudepigrapha, a term which has evolved from Greek denoting writings with false superscription. That's not true. The term is used by contemporary scholars not because it denotes something spurious, but because the name has been inherited and is now used internationally. The literature includes the Book of Jubilees and 3 books of Enoch, one in Hebrew, one in Ethiopic, and one in Slavic. It also includes the books of Ezra, the books of Baruch, much apocryphal literature of the ancient patriarchs, lost Judeo-Hellenistic works, got them over here, and many expansions of the works of Old Testament, as there's just books that are missing. I don't have them. In the addition of the Pseudepigrapha, there are collections of ancient Jewish and early Christian writings which are recognized as important to understand the period in which the Pseudepigrapha were composed. These sources include the works of Jewish philosopher Philo of Alexandria, the works of the Jewish historian General Flavius Josephus of about AD 37 to 100, the Dead Sea Scrolls dated 150 BC to AD, the Targums of the Aramaic translations and interpretations of the Hebrew scriptures, Jewish magical pottery, the writing of the Hermetics, the Nag Hammadi papers, got that over here, which are the Coptic codices of the 1st to the 4th century relating to the Gnostic tradition, and the Apocrypha, or documents preserved in Greek but not in Hebrew Old Testament. Last part. The Gnostic literature was also completely left out of the scriptures, being serious contenders to the early Christian church, and we know why. In early years of the Christian era, the Gnostics were harassed and utterly defeated, and their literature was consigned to oblivion. In the first 3 centuries of Christianity, which was a bloodbath, the most systematic and organized Christian religion was that of the Gnostics, which spread from Palestine, from Asia Minor to North America, and then to European territories of Roman Empire. It was spread by the Roman legions wherever they went and was integrated with the local religions and customs. It was so popular that it would pose a serious challenge to the early Roman Church. In the 2nd century, the Valentinus, a major Gnostic thinker, saw election or pope in Rome and came very close to being elected. The event marked the high point of Gnosticism, alarmed by the growth and the strength of the Gnosticism, a religion that was held a priesthood as unnecessary. The Bishop of Rome, with the conveyance and support of the Emperor Constantine, convened a council of bishops in AD 325, and with their help declared Gnosticism a false doctrine and a major heresy. Off with the heads. Later, all forms of Gnosticism were banned from the Roman Empire by an increasingly authoritative church. Gnostic texts disappeared from the centers of the learning or were left uncopied, which achieved the same purpose. And the Watchers and Gregorians made sure of that. Until recently, the only Gnostic literature that was available were the refusions by the early Christian fathers. Then in 1945, extensive Gnostic treatises were found in earthenware jars in Egypt of a small town called Nag Hammadi. This find was as significant to the biblical research as that of the Dead Sea Scrolls in Palestine. And the Gnostic tracts the existence of the serpent gods, lowercase g, is clearly indicative. The serpent in the Garden of Eden is a noble and virtuous creature. It is a woman called Lilith, who is first created, and then later Adam is provided to her as a mate. It is thus clear why the Manichaeans, an early Gnostic sect to which St. Augustine belonged to before his conversion, was persecuted so vigorously. For their beliefs undermine many of the precepts of the male dominant figure in the early church. That's why they treat women like second class, so they don't have rights. Furthermore, in the Gnostic philosophy, there is no need for an intermediary between man and God. And it's not. You don't need a preacher or a priest or whomever to pray for you, a rabbi. You don't need that. You got a direct connection to source. Source is here. Source is within you. Well, I've been talking about the science of sacred secretion. It's all right there. The book of wisdom, the symbolism behind it, what it means, what each one of us encompasses. And in closing, it says here, the borrowed stories of the Old Testament, it goes through that, goes through the struggle of good and evil, which is fundamental to the Judeo-Christian concept of sin. I'm skipping, all right? Is basically derived from that, and it gets impetus for the Sumerian story of the struggle between good and evil gods for control of the pantheon. The myth of Zal describes how an evil god named Zal seized control of heavens and destroyed by the Heronic god sent by the pantheon. From it was derived the story of the attempt of the evil angel Lucifer to seize the heavens and defeat banishment to hell below. The origin story of the fall of Lucifer, the account of the good God against the evil one, was a story known all over the Middle East in various forms. Its origin was undoubtedly the Sumerian story called the myth of Zal. You have these warring factions of serpents. Like I said, there's 9 reptilian beings, different types of beings here, and probably more, but I've cataloged 9 that are here. So it says the battle for control of the heavens is described in detail in a later chapter. The story of the fall of Lucifer is found in many of the ancient religious documents. For example, details of the struggle period of the Slavic apocalypse of Enoch, also known as the second book of Enoch, a document which is survived only in Slavonic, and was probably derived from the Aramaic sources. It refers to an archangel called Samuel who rebelled and tried to seize the heavens, like the evil Sumerian god Zal, who tried to. The thing is, and I'm going to stop it right here because I'm going to put this here, and we're going to come back and we're going to get into this part that I skipped over. The thing you got to remember is these beings lived a long time, and they changed names because our number 2 chromosome was cut. All right. Before the flood, we lived thousands of years. After, they took it down to 120. They cut by and go look at it. They fused their telomeres, number 2 chromosome. Tied it like shoelaces, added additive ad filler. When that ad filler starts to shorten, the telomeres start to shorten, that's when aging progresses, right? So it's why it's so important for us to take care of our bodies and to know what we should be eating. Everything around us has been weaponized, you guys. I'm not telling you something that you already know. Everything around us has been weaponized. You have to question every single thing. We live in a perversion because we're living outside of ourselves. We need to go within where the creator of all is so you can have a direct connection with source, because our bodies are antennas. Don't know how I can say it any plainer than that. Our bodies are antennas. Literally. And everything, the frequencies, EMFs, food, PFAS in the water, GMO, people you surround yourself with, electronic devices, everything plays a factor. Now they're sending signals and putting thoughts in our head and doing all kind of stuff. And you can go out there and read declassified documents like I do, sit up in the middle of the night reading stuff. Just, it's fantastical. I wish I didn't have to sleep. And it was a time where we didn't have to. But I'm not stepping into my power and my truth. I'm not doing that yet, right? I'm not. I'm just going to be 100 with you. I'm still learning. I'm a babe. I am. I'm a baby. And I'm 55 and I'm a baby. Yet I've scratched the surface. I know probably more than most people do, but yet and still, I know nothing. I just read. I don't know shit. I'm just simply saying, this is not what you think it is. We have to take accountability for our actions. Yes. Excellent video. Excellent video. If you see this original Lone Wolf. Camille had a great one last night. I got to catch up on that here in a little bit. You guys do magnificent work. I'm very, very, very thankful, very, very honored, very, very humble that you all take the time to even listen to me read, right? And to listen to me talk about certain things. Because most of the time, when I have conversations with people, it's like over their head, literally, seriously. So, and I mean, I don't know shit. I'm just telling you, I just read and I just recount things, and I'm like an open book, right? When it comes to that. So it's like, for me, this has been the most inspiring time for me to learn as much as possible. If I could just soak it all up in just one like shot and know it, and that is where I'm headed. That is where I want to become. What do you call it? Centripetal, entangled. It has different names. Direct connection with source allowed me to exist in something other than what I'm living in right now in this perversion. That's what I mean. So, the book of Revelation, the fall angel, the dragon, Michael battling Lucifer, Satan, the devil, all different beings. It's not the same being. And people have a way of, oh, the devil made me do it. Oh, well, Satan is this. And oh, Lucifer is this. And his angels. Y'all really need to understand Satan, Lucifer, and the devil is not the same thing. It's a multitude of beings, right? It's not just one being. It's multiple beings, you guys. Multiple beings. Be not deceived on that part. They work tirelessly, overtime. And in that book, and I'm closing it out, I'm over an hour. In this book, where it talks about the Chazars, the Khazars, this was in this book. Those beings who now call themselves, and there's no hate, Jews, the Zionists, they were created by these beings, and they pay homage to them. The Vatican, British government, the crown, all the governments around the world, they're all in cahoots, and they all serve these beings. That's my point. And if that's too much for you guys to handle, then y'all don't need to be on my channel. Y'all don't need to be even listening to what I got to say or what I'm reading. Seriously. I find it fascinating. You tell a lie long enough and people believe it, and they don't want to go pick up a book and go read it. And I get it. Some people only pick up books that benefit them and they don't care about the rest. But I'm here to tell you, I'm here to learn. I want to go to the Ancestral Republic. I want to live my last days in the library there. I really do. And I don't even want to say last days in this avatar body. All right. Because I know I live on. I'm a sentient being. But my Merkaba has to be registered with the creator of all. And I am not registered, as you should say. And they work tirelessly to limit us. And we have been knocked down, us as a species, if you want to call us human or mankind. especially the so-called black man or black woman. Okay, I'm not even gonna get started on that one. I'm not. Thank you guys for joining me for this reading. Not trying to be ranty and long-winded. I hope this reading has helped you. I hope it's benefited you. I hope it uncovered some things. There's a lot of hidden symbolism, and we're going to get into more of it. For the sake of me cutting this video short, it's an hour and 14 minutes, longer ones I've done in a while. I stopped at chapter 2 on the flying serpents and dragons right here, and I tabbed it in purple so that when we come back, I'm going to finish up the borrowed stories of the Old Testament, the origin story of the fall of Lucifer, and then we're going to get into chapter 3, which is the Western or European dragons, and they've got drawings down here depicted that, right? And I mean, I know how this sounds, but this world is much larger. This dome was much larger than what it used to be, and because it was in the center, and I do believe they came in and they reshaped it. They have the power and the technology to do that. And all up and down the Tennessee mountains, ranges up through there, the Blue Ridge Mountains, that's a dragon. That's a dragon. I said I was going to get on Facebook and pull it up and show you. There's a dragon over in the Sahara Desert, where they call it the eye of the Sahara. That's actually an eye of a dragon. That is, it is. And some would say that's where Atlantis is. Atlantis was worldwide, though. Atlantis was here in America. It was everywhere. It was worldwide. We were worldwide. The dragon up and down the coast of California, too. There's one. There's remnants. There's the interstitial cellular walls. There's a womb cave. There's so much. This is just a graveyard where we live on. People are just delusional to think that this is just geology and it's rocks, and it's not. It's organic matter. But I'm getting off on a tangent. I'm going to close it up. I'm just going to say this. I appreciate you guys taking the time out to listen to me read and to, just learn something. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great afternoon. And remember what I always say. Be the change you want to see all around this earth dome, because it's up to you and I to make a positive change. When I come back, I am going to pick up on the next chapter of Murder of Reality, and we're going to continue our reading. So until then, I'll talk to you guys soon.